that go by the name of the doctor.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good point. It's like
Yeah.
That's what he
As
said.
Hers is
not the
the
doctor.
promise you keep to yourself, so.
you.
Well, there's also.
Yeah, I did. First of all, as in regards to Peter Davison, you liking to see him in the 50th anniversary. And I follow a couple of different Whovian blogs, including the Anglophania from BBC America, and it has been confirmed that Peter Davison had a script for the 50th anniversary. And when people talked to Moffat about it, he said, I've been lying this whole time. You never know when I'm lying and when I'm telling the truth. I have said that so-and-so will not be in the 50th. How do you know I wasn't lying about that?
In fact,
And
he's
so-
actually said that the only time he has to cop to anything is when it's done out in the public.
Yeah. So we don't know. There may be other people showing up. Captain Jack may show up. And Paul McGann may show up. But Peter Davison has a script. We don't know why, but why would he have a script for the 50th? If he's not involved in some capacity. Also, the Big Finish audio stuff is fantastic, especially for the 8th Doctor.
Yes.
And
Light at the end.
the light at the end.
The light at the end,
For the recent 50th anniversary Big Finish audio special, it features the first through the 8th Doctors. We just listened to it driving up here.
Well,
We live in Reno.
do
It
have
is
the first.
fantastic. Well, yes, you hear the
You hear
first
bits,
3
yeah.
in little
Okay,
bits
okay.
because they're not there to record it
Yeah,
But
anymore, obviously.
it's mostly
4
and on
Yeah.
that
Yes.
have the prominent stuff, but
You hear
there's
voices
reasons
from
why you're
1
hearing
through
1, 2,
3.
and 3 as well.
And they splice their voices to make their
they're
comments
basically,
sound
they're, you know, like in the 3 Doctors, the first Doctor's always like on the monitor. 'Cause,
Yes,
you
that's
know,
exactly
they're
exactly
reading
what
off-
it
they're
is.
reading
Yeah.
off of cue cards at this point.
Yeah,
So,
right.
okay.
that's exactly
But
the idea.
it's a fantastic story, and you get 1 through 8.
I want to listen to that, but
It's wonderful.
I'm waiting for Gallifrey 1 so I can pick it up for 340.
Nice. Nice.
But what I'm expecting is every time the Doctors get together, they gotta bicker. They can't
Oh, yeah.
get along.
Yeah.
They
They
just
must.
initially because so you're my replacement's the Dandy and the Clown, you know, and it's like I think the 5th Doctor actually got
Everyone
along.
has their
Quit arguing with me.
I think the 5th Doctor actually got along with the 1st Doctor, but it's like, you know, but it was like, you know, eventually they stop and they're all working on the problem with the pyramid. I think it was in the 5 Doctors.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to translate it. It's like, you know, it's, you know, familiarity breeds contempt, but it's still me. It's like, you know, I have a twin. I love you, I hate you. You know?
And there is that whole, like, you know, it's.
Oh, no, a fan.
One of the same, one of the same things where Tennant is talking with Jack. It's like, you know, you're an anomaly. You're a fixed point in time. I don't like being around you. That could be the very same thing with the Doctor and the Doctor and the Doctor and the Doctor. It's like, you know, they are like, we should not be meeting. This is not good. But we gotta work on this problem. You know?
Yeah, well, and it's usually something really massively wrong. You know, I mean, the first time we get it's Omega, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna rip a whole new. I'm gonna rip the universe a new one, and then the 5 Doctors is because Rassilon's a jerk,
Yeah.
and then time's
So Omega's a jerk, Rassilon's a jerk.
what was the 2 Doctors? Well, that was the Centaurans.
That was the Taurans.
And then,
Which are another great.
and then we get Time Crash, and it's like, there's a black hole, the universe, there's a rip in the space-time continuum of the exact size of Belgium. I mean, granted, it would have gotten bigger as time went on, but, there's something, them getting together is kind of a bad thing. I expect that as well. There's going to be something that's going to, the universe is going to, be in jeopardy, and it's like they're going to have to work together even though they bicker. And they're just, it's like,
That's half the fun.
and then it's going to be, I would have loved, what I would have loved to have seen is Eccleston come back, we get Rose, and then Rose is like, wait, do I know you? No, I know you. And it's like, you can, and hopefully we don't get the Who's Our First. That would be you, Captain Jack.
I'll fix that.
But, there you go.
You'll do
But-
anything,
Yeah, but that's kind of what, you know, I'm expecting that there's going to be some massive, it's going to be something epic, even if it's just sort of on a small planet or whatever. We know there's going to be a threat to the universe, and we're gonna feel that there's a threat to the universe, and like, you know, Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, Galactus, you know, but there's gonna be something, you know, massively wrong with the universe, and it's gonna be a threat to all of creation, you know, in all realities, and he's going to have to save it. He's the only one, and he's going to need his help. You know, and he's going to bicker while doing it.
So,
with
like,
himself.
you know, in the past, like, you know, 3 Doctors, it's the Time Lords that pretty much are stuck in a situation, so they kind of bend time around the Doctor so they can help himself. In the 5 Doctors, it was, who was the player?
Barusa.
The Time, yeah, who's
Barusa.
Barossa, yeah.
Barossa, I was trying to, so like, you know, and then in the 2 Doctors, it was just coincidence?
I think it was just coincidence.
So-
Because Time Crash was totally
Yeah.
coincidence.
Well, it could have been the Time Lords sending both of them. The second Doctor actively knew that the Time Lords were manipulating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it could have.
Well, the 6th Doctor would totally remember that at that point. He's got the
It's,
experience, but.
But sometimes I think through regeneration, he loses certain things, or he forgets certain things, like, I mean, the 3rd Doctor was, you know, had like these cool fighting, like
Venusian
ninja type
karate-
skills,
Venusian
but no
karate.
Doctor after him.
Well, I think it's
you
just
know,
no doctor
remembered to do
chose
that.
it, but you know,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, total speculation. It's totally
Well,
supportable
the
either
Time
way.
Lords can wipe bits of minds anyways.
Yeah, it's not like the
Well,
Time Lords have to mess
and
with
the
the
8th
Doctor's
Doctors had a lot of complications from being gassed during his, you know, and the bad surgery and all that. So, you know, he's apparently very forgetful and has amnesia and a whole bunch of other stuff. So who knows?
So I'm just wondering, and speculating on, you know, if we're gonna have this, confluence of Doctors, what's the force bringing them together? Cause I mean, you know, so far it's been Time Lord, maybe Time Lord, and we don't have Time Lords right now.
Do we actually know at this point that's the 10th Doctor, not the weird clone thing from?
No, it's the 10th.
Good point. It's not, Pete's World Doctor.
Yeah.
I no, it's not going to be that, because if you're gonna do that, people are going to kill you. You know, it's like if people don't already hate Moffat as it is, and there's already a lot of hate out there against him, even though, you know, he's done a very good job running the show and stuff. You know, it's, yeah, well, let's put it this way, it's gotten bigger than it's ever been.
Yeah.
And this was after losing, oh my God, David Tennant, nobody else can play him.
Yeah.
The sentiments, so it's, you know, we're talking like the show's reached new heights. I don't think that you're gonna go with something where it's the 50th anniversary of an iconic show that has defined British culture as much as the Beatles and the Stones.
Kids behind couches for decades.
You know, I mean, you know,
Even one of the doctors is hidden behind the
I
couch.
mean-
Tennant talks about that, yeah.
you know, it's, you're not gonna bring in a half human, half doctor thing. You know, you're just not.
Like
because-
Dave's Doctor.
That's
No, that's,
funny.
read the Forgotten and explains it in a single goddamn panel. You know, because it just, you know, half broken chameleon arch, a few wide-eyed stares, and a few choice words. There you go. You know, and number one rule, the doctor lies. Of course, the doctor lies, and the master's an idiot to believe him. So there you go.
Well, there is the doctor's daughter.
Yeah, but that's the I mean, okay, that's great. That's the doctor's daughter. You know, but you know, we've got Dr. Donna.
Because
You
you're
know.
disparaging Clem saying that,
Well, if you're going to bring back the Doctor, the 10th Doctor, you're not going to bring back a
Yeah.
half clone thing.
Yeah.
You know, I you know, I
You don't
don't
do
want,
half Doctor.
you know,
For the 50th, they're gonna do full Doctor, you're not gonna do half Doctor.
you know, you know, I want Bruce Wayne Batman, not Dick Grayson Batman. I'm sorry. Again,
He did it all
Bruce
right.
Wayne Batman, you know, I love Batman Beyond, Terry, great character, but if you're gonna do a Batman movie, it's gotta be Bruce Wayne, you know, it's just like, you know, you know, it's an iconic character, you have an actor who's known for that, you're gonna bring him back. You know, as long as he's available and not old.
Right.
But I would like to, you
You
know,
know, or Chris Pine, but that's, you know,
when the doctor.
something else,
When
that's
the
something
doctor,
else.
when the doctor left Susan, he said he would return and come back to her,
This is
what have you. And I know that you have the 5 doctors, and they kind of combine forces against the dialects there in the Citadel, but I don't consider that like a true coming back, you know, because we're kind of forced together. And what I would like to see, and I thought of this maybe for the Brigadier, but unfortunately he's passed on, and God rest his soul, and what have you. But what I'd like to see is the doctor come back, visit his granddaughter as she's passing away, just to end that character and that relationship, something, you know, dramatic in that, because he did promise her that he would return to her.
It's like you totally just read my mind right now. Okay, I was gonna, seriously, I rose my hand at the exact same time that you started talking. I wanted to ask you guys, because we had talked, you were talking earlier about the fact that there's these small little intricate things that later play out, or you later see something about it. And I was wanting to know in future episodes, if you could see something that they haven't touched on, that isn't resolved quite yet, or that is just kind of a seed, what would you want to see?
Funny enough, that was gonna be my next question, is seeing what do we get after 50?
I think I
See,
answered that one.
yeah,
I
okay.
answered that one,
I am hive mind.
Have my idea.
Well, for me, I kind of like what you were saying, like, I'd like to see kind of what, you know, we know what happened to Sarah Jane, right? You know, we've got a whole series of her. I'd like to see, like, you know, like you were saying, you know, we have no more Time Lords. Well, you've got the Meddling Monk, and I know there's some 8th Doctor audio stuff. What happened to all these other Time Lords? What happened? Where's the Ronnie? What happened to Susan?
Uh-huh.
You know, she's a Time Lord. I have a, you know, what happened to Leela? Because last we know, she's on Gallifrey. Gallifrey ain't no more, or at least it's time locked and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I have this kind of fanfic thing in my head where it's like, you know, okay, we're officially declaring the Time War, and the 8th Doctor's like, you guys are morons, fine. You want my help. You know, he just lambasted Time Lords, and you manipulated me, you know, you forced me to regenerate once, you know, you've sent me to do your dirty work, try and kill the Daleks, do all this stuff. You know, you want my help, you are going to do what I want now. I've done what you wanted. You know, Susan will be taken care of, and you will leave her out of this. You will turn her into a human, and she's going to live her life with the guy that she left. And so that, therefore, you know, they can be happy together and not have that hang, you know, her immortality compared to him hanging over her head. I want you to do the same thing with Leela, I forget Leela's husband, huh? Andred. You know, I want you to do the same thing for Leela, you know, because it's like, you know, like he said, you know, when he was regenerating, he went back and saw all of his old companions. So there's gotta be, I would like to see when it was like, what's happened to them. They sort of explained that with one of the end of the Sarah Jane episode, where she was like, you know, Ace and you know, the Ian and Barbara are apparently still very long lived and stuff. And you know, I would like to see, like, at least all the ones that we see on screen, and except for Grace, because that's a copyright issue. Because that's the one character that's never ever going to show. Is like, you know, what happens to them? You know, what are they doing? You know, I you know, that, and I'd like to see what the hell happened to Adam. You know, he gets kicked out of the TARDIS. You know, what you know, we've sort of seen what Mickey's up to and what Martha's up to. You know.
That really, I'm surprised.
It kind of came out of left field, but you know, it worked for me because
I'm surprised we didn't see a spin-off of that. I really did.
Yeah. But it's like, I'd like to see what happened to all these companions, especially the ones that, because of the Time War, have this really complicated history. Because they're, you know, they're connected to Time Lords or are Time Lords, or, you know, all these other Time Lords that we keep running into that aren't supposed to be doing things that they just let, you know, the Time Lords are like, I'm gonna punish you for like saving people, but the Meddling Monk, go ahead, you know, do whatever. The Master, go ahead.
So I wanna find out more about the time agency. You know,
The Celestial Time Agency.
I mean, you know, not that I'm Captain Jack Regalia for a reason, but, you know, here we see this con man who is part of the time agency, or
Was.
may or may not have been, we actually don't know for sure, he claims to have been part of. But here is a human agency that has temporal powers. We've seen a little bit through Torchwood and James Masters and stuff like that, but
Who were they? Yeah.
But
Exactly.
we haven't actually gotten that defined well. That is a very possible, powerful force out in the universe that, you know, is this the eventual power of the humans before we get to Utopia?
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's one of the things I would like to see them get more into and see how, you know, I kind of get visuals, concepts in my mind of the, you know, very regimented, you know, we protect the timeline type thing, and then you have the doctor mucking things around, and they might be the ones cleaning up after him.
The janitor.
You know what I'd like to see though, I'm a big Ian Chesterton fan, that, you know, every once in a while he goes to, Toddington Lane to check out the junkyard to see if he sees a TARDIS, and then, you know, he's just holding the hand of his grandchild or what have you, and he's telling the story of the doctor, and then as he opens it up, the TARDIS just disappears, and you kind of just like, you know, you see in his eyes that he's kind of reliving the moments when he was with the doctor, and just kind of see him as an elderly man, and just kind of, you know.
Although they screwed that up in Sarah Jane, when they said that they hardly aged a day.
Oh, yeah, but yeah, that would have been nice, something emotional like that, he's a great character as well.
Well, Lena Horne looks like she's hardly aged today, so, you know,
Yeah,
good
but-
genetics.
But sadly, William Russell.
Yeah. Well, you know, they found somebody who played the first Doctor in like the 5 Doctors, so you couldn't do that, I mean, you know.
Well, you guys sound very creative, and you're probably a lot more creative than what they're actually gonna do. Is it not more likely that they're just going to treat the 50th anniversary, like, kind of like they do the Christmas special, which is, they'll have this 50th anniversary, and then they will do 12th Doctor meets the Cybermen, 12th Doctor meets the Daleks, 12th Doctor meets...
I hope not, because I spent $60 on tickets, and I'm looking for something
But
spectacular.
I think the 50th anniversson show will be something
Yeah.
special.
I hope
but
so.
And then the
remember
next
what
one following
comes next.
season.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be another season.
Because
I
I
want to
hear-
see regeneration of 12th Doctor, of course.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's one thing, like, Weeping Angels and Blink were fantastic and creepy, and then we go back and see them again, and the more we see them, the less creepy they get.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, I'd be happy to wait a year or two before you even touch Daleks again. I love the Daleks, not as much as Cybermen, but I love the Daleks. And,
Well, one open end that I've seen was when the doctor burns the master. That person picks up his ring. You never find out who that
yeah,
person
that's
is.
yeah.
So
we do.
you've got
that was
the
in,
And she
that
died.
was at the end of The Sound of Drums.
right.
That was how we get the end of time. Because she dropped the ring in whatever thing it was, and that's how he came back,
okay.
is he was fully
Quarters
born
of
to
life.
I've been trying to hold off, but I need to use the restroom real quick, I'll be right back.
Right.
Go save the day.
Is there a bathroom in the TARDIS?
Yeah, it's like
Yes.
right,
Yeah.
right out the door.
Question, and we'll
Yeah.
discuss between ourselves.
Go toward the lobby.
Favorite story arcs?
Favorite story arc?
Favorite story arcs. What, you wanna do one classic, one new?
Go ahead.
Sure.
Classic Key to Time, because that's really sort of like the first time we sort of get, you know, this long range storytelling, and where you can still kind of pick out bits and pieces that led to the Trial of Time Lord, which was, started watching that again, actually didn't seem as such a muddled mess as it was. Everybody claims it is. I mean, it's just, you know, you're telling different individual stories and with an overall theme.
I think at the time we were still pissed off.
Yeah, well, but to me, key to time is like you've got, you know, you've got this, you know, kind of big thing, but we're doing it as like, okay, we're breaking it down into smaller tasks, and we're building to something. And that was a whole year's worth of stuff. You know, another one, you know what else I'd like to see, just kind of go back, what happened to the Black Guardian and the White Guardian?
That's true.
That's what I would like to find out, because the Black Guardian tries to get his revenge on the 5th Doctor as well.
Yeah, I agree.